My friend Tom, who has lung cancer, and he emailed me before he did this, he decided to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Well, and he has a friend, this is in Montana, he has a friend who, her dream had always been, I think that it was her dream to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. She would never have been able to do it, to afford it. He decided to pay for her and his trip, and together they would climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So I got an email from him, and my printer is on the blink, so I had to copy it. But I'm going to read you his email in just a minute. So he returned almost at the same time that I returned from the forest refuge. But anyway, my friend Tom and my friend Martha both got lung cancer at the same time, about 2.5 years ago. It was amazing. She is my friend since kindergarten, and we're the same age. And he's been my friend since the first 3-month retreat. He took the first 3-month retreat, but we both did at the same time in 1988. So their condition has been with me very strongly for 2.5 years. And watching, they're both just magnificent. I mean, they've got that beetle down. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, she says that every day is a bonus. Every single day to her. It's just absolutely this wonderful moment. She's still alive. It's just so inspiring to see someone who has accepted completely the truth. There's a freedom in that. There's a freedom in knowing that we're impermanent. Did you ever think, did that ever occur to you to know that, to embrace the fact that you can't hold on, that is like incredibly freeing? I've seen it literally in these two people, in her. It's like she's enjoying living every day. So he decides he's going to, well, I'll tell you, I flew to Dallas to spend what I thought would be, sort of consoling her. But that she didn't need consoling. This was a year and a half ago. But so I have a favorite picture of her. It's a wonderful picture, and so I lost it. It just means that when I lose something, it's only under a stack of things. I never lose anything. I just misplace things. So I said to her, I said, Martha, I said, there's the one picture of you that I love more than any other picture. And I said, I want to see if I can get a copy of it. And she said, oh, I know what picture that is. Photo there, see? There's lots and lots of photos of her. But I think she knew me well enough to know that I would like what I would like. And so she said, well, let's go into my office. And so we went, and she pulled out her drawer. And she pulled out this photo, and she said, is this it? And I said, it is. I said, how do you happen to have that particular photo in her drawer? She said, well, this is my obituary file. This is the photo I want. Well, it took my breath away. And I said, you have an obituary file? And she said, yes. She said, I had to go through all of this trouble with my father and mother, both of whom had passed away recently. And she said, I'm not putting that on my children. So she said, I'm writing my own obituary. So they don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And so once again, it's like, for me, I mean, that's humbling. And so anyway, so switch from Martha now to my friend Tom. And so Tom went to Kilimanjaro. Tom, who did 2 3-month retreats 25 years ago. Well, we made it, he said. If I had not practiced concentration meditation, I never would have made it. If you can imagine if you can imagine the slowest lifting, moving, placing you have ever done, combined with acute awareness of the breath. Wow, what an experience. Really, as a combination of intense concentration and some determination. I never felt like I would not make it. I just went deeper and my breath never failed me. Our head guy, Deo Gracias, was very, very worried about me. I don't think he ever saw anyone breathe so hard. We had two African guides, head guide, Deo Gracias, and assistant guide, Ramadan. Skip was our U.S. guide. We had a support team of 17 people. Guides, cooks, waiters, porters, one person carried a toilet. We left at midnight on the summit day and walked till 5 p.m. that next afternoon. We had reached the summit at about 9 a.m. that morning. The guide would not let me go further to the actual peak, but Eden, his companion, made it to the true summit of 19,300 feet. Tom went 18,700 feet. So this is someone who is living his life every moment, right? And it seems to me that that to do that, he has had to totally embrace the truth, the reality of his life, right? No pretense, no hiding, and just embracing and accepting. So that brings me to meditation, and you know, someone asked me, how do you think that he was able to, how was he able to do that and climb the mountain? And you know, who knows? I don't have the answer to that, but I do know that the meditation that he's done has certainly informed his life and changed his life. And it occurs to me that in a certain way, that is the true payoff of what we're doing, is this ability to let go of our illusions and our delusions, and let go of this, what the mind says, let go of the fears, and embrace the truth of what we are, and the reality of what we are. So how do we do that? Well, I've read this many different ways, and you could say that meditation, there's 3 stages of meditation. So we're all somewhere in this process. And it is a process. Meditation is a process of profound change. It's actually a process of rewiring your nervous system. So if you're not really so interested in rewiring your nervous system, right, you have to really hold on very tight to not change. So the first part of meditation, which is something that each of you are doing, have done, and are doing, is to quiet the mind. It's not to learn about Buddhism. It's not to learn about anatta or anicca or dukkha, suffering. It's not to learn anything at all. There's plenty to learn for the rest of your life, for all of us. But the first part of meditation is to begin to quieten this bizarre thing that is in our heads. That could take the next 20 years. Do you know, and in a sense, that is the bad news, isn't it? I mean, in other words, because some of us are in a big hurry. I mean, for instance, when you hit 72, I mean, you are now. Some people, my friend Martha was born with a certain equanimity. I mean, really. So you can't explain it. She was born with it. I mean, she's never really, I mean, I taught her some Vipassana when I was in Dallas. Like she said, oh, I do that. Oh, I already do that. I thought, oh my God. I mean, she does, and it's true. I mean, it's just by instinct, that's just who she is. So I'm not, so obviously meditation is not the only path. I mean, you could have the karmic good fortune of being born into this existence with a tremendous inner knowledge already. I think that's my experience is that is true of some people. It wasn't true of me. I think that it took me about 10 years to get my mind quiet. Okay, so I want to say that again. So you have to have patience. You have to have tremendous, profound patience and understand that, first of all, nothing is going to happen until you settle your mind, until it gets quiet. Insight cannot come in a zoo. Insight does not arrive, in a circus. It doesn't. And we are a circus. So sitting, and so one thing that you're doing and I'm doing when we're sitting is we're just simply trying to quiet the mind. You can talk about, watching the breath or watching the body or noting or vipassana or theravada or mahayana. It just on and on and on, Zen. But until we learn to quiet the mind through concentration, not much is going to happen. And so that's what we're doing. So that's what everyone is doing. And that's what I'm still doing. So the next thing that happens in meditation is the crucial thing that happens if your mind finally starts to rest. If it finally settles. What happens is then it begins to see. It can't see if it's totally lost in the external. It can't. It's just not possible. If the mind is lost in seeing Wendy or seeing Lane or hearing the sounds or what's worse than seeing and hearing and tasting and touching, right, is thinking. Just an endless thinking. So if the mind settles and becomes quiet, then it for the first time, it's in a position to see. For the first time. What does that mean? It means that it begins to experience the reality that there is a subject and an object. Two separate things. There's a thought, and there's a watcher of the thought. Right? It's a bit of what I call a wedge. In other words, when the mind gets really quiet, it can begin to then observe things from a position of I am not that. So when there is separation, it is really true that you then have the capacity to have a moment of knowing I am not this pain, this body hurting, right? Or whatever is happening to you. That's a huge thing, people. I mean, just think of that. It's a huge thing. The fear of, oh my God, I'm going to die someday. Oh my God, what will happen when I don't exist, right? Which is a thought. But I mean, it doesn't matter that it's a thought. It can absolutely control one's life forever, and does. That can't go away. How do you, someone says, well, just let it go. Beverly, just let it go. What the hell does that mean, just let it go? You can't just let it go. We can't just, if I am my thoughts, how do I let my thoughts go? It's ridiculous. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can only do it when when you have reached that second stage where you're beginning to see subject and object as two different things. I said in the beginning, right? See if you can watch the body breathing as the body breathing. Not as you. You're not breathing. Consciousness can't breathe, people. Awareness cannot breathe. I mean, maybe it feels like it. It can't. The body breathes. So awareness can watch the body. So if you get to that stage and you see that, you're really on the path. Because the third stage is the insight into what you see. Just seeing is great. Just seeing, oh, those are thoughts. That's fabulous. The third stage is the insight that comes. Because from the insight, you see that the thought is empty. There's nothing in it. It doesn't have a core. It's just a thought. And what happens when you see that a thought is empty? Well, you're in big trouble. Because the next step beyond a thought is empty is, what about the thinker of the thought? That's empty too. It's not empty in the sense of, this is here. This is feeling and experiencing. But this thought of I must live forever, this thought of I am this solid substance, I'm this substance that must live forever. That thought is just a thought. And when you begin to see that is empty, you're not going to be afraid of dying anymore. You're not going to be afraid of death. You're going to embrace every moment as it is. And which is exactly what Martha and Thomas do. They both, in some marvelous way, have a connection to this sense of, if you embrace impermanence, you can't hold on, you can't claim to be impermanent, to being permanent, if you can embrace impermanent. So that's the payoff of meditation. So I'm just watching the room just cleared out, right? Everyone, you're not going to be afraid of dying. Oh, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not coming for that. I'm coming for peace. Or for calmness. The truth is, it's for freedom. It's just freedom. That's the only thing. That's the thing. It's freedom. Freedom from the fear. Freedom from, wasn't really the fear of dying, but freedom from all of the fears. Fears that are just self-generated in this mind that is not still and not quiet. I want to read this poem. I love this poem. I did this years ago in a Dharma talk. And I'm going to finish. Okay? Can you breathe a sigh of relief? This is from Spoon River Anthology. How many people know Spoon River Anthology? I love this. This is one of my favorite poems. I say this thinking about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. So this is George Gray. This is old George Gray. He's standing by his tombstone, right? As you know, Spoon River Anthology, everybody in it is dead. You don't quite get it at first because they're standing on stage, but they're standing by their tombstones right there. I had a friend who was in this play. I have studied many times the marble chiseled for me, a boat with a furled sail at rest in a harbor. In truth, it pictures not my destination, but my life. For love was offered me, and I shrank from it, from its disillusionment. Sorrow knocked at my door, but I was afraid. Ambition called me, but I dreaded the chances. Yet all the while I hungered for meaning in my life. And now I know that we must lift the sail. Yes. We must lift the sail and catch the wind of destiny wherever they drive the boat. To put meaning in one's life may end in madness, but life without meaning is the torture of restlessness and vague desire. I will repeat that. Life without meaning is the torture of restlessness and vague desire. It is a boat longing for the sea, yet afraid. I think that it is the fear of death that causes us to furl the sail and stay in safe harbors. And I also think that this practice is very, very deceptive, because it can just seem like it's sort of like 45 minutes, right, on Sunday. But if you really get a taste of it, and you really get sort of hooked to it, it can take you out of the harbor. And it can take you to freedom. Thank you.